crew, I mean, not really want to boil it. About if a girl in your bed, you might style it. You might come back home and she want to check out your private.
Sweet girl, you're the only one for me, the only one who has my heart.
That's right.
There's no need to trade, our love is like a perfect work of art. Ain't no need for music, we really gotta play it smart.
Now what I see just to wake up in the morning. After me spend the whole night with me darling.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, today the time is St. Vincent time. The ground is 15 minutes on to the hour of 8 o'clock. We're going to hand it over to Lyf with his commentary this morning. Good morning to you, Lyf.
Morning, Maka. How are you?
I'm good.
I can't see. Who's there this morning?
Who's calling me?
You can't see, but you could hear.
Nothing wrong with me eyes.
I just can't see. You can't see yourself going to work today or tomorrow, Lyf. Which one?
It could be Friday. Yeah, so morning everybody. I don't know if you guys caught the presentation by United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio in St. Kitts. But I was just reading well, last night I was reading the article that Eyewitness News put out, written by Peter Richards, with what Marco Rubio said. And basically, it's just a big bag of nothing, really. You know what I mean? Some very weird statements that it really mean nothing here or there. It's just, to me, it just seems like if he just showed up, gave a speech, whatever, and just left. You know what I mean? He's speaking about a new dynamic in the Western Hemisphere and partnering with Caribbean countries on the issues we share in common. So, with the US, you always see something, they only do something when it's going to benefit them. You see, partnering on the issues we share in common, whatever that's supposed to be. And then he speaks about an urgent threat in the region is the threat of these transnational criminal organizations. Now, they just aided the Mexican authorities in basically trying to capture the biggest cartel leader in Mexico. And the leader was eventually shot and killed, and it started a big war between the Mexican government and the cartel, the remainder of the cartel army, basically. And I think that they should be focusing their attention there, helping Mexico deal with that situation. Because we are seeing nothing like that in the Caribbean, so I have no idea what they're talking about these serious things in the Caribbean that affecting them, that they have to come down here and be bombing vessels. The problem is right next door to them in Mexico, because look, they could obviously see it. So then he goes on to say that basically drugs and the proceeds from those drugs is being made in the United States. And he's blaming that from coming from the Caribbean, but we can basically see the number one drug that is killing them is fentanyl, and it's coming from right next door, again in Mexico. And then he speaks about cartels buying weaponry. These groups are buying weaponry from the United States. And I just had to laugh when I read that, because for the last how much years, opposition leader Dr. Lyf Gonsalves has been speaking about the prevalence of firearms in the region and noting that the region does not make firearms and noting that the firearms are coming from the United States. And I never heard no United States governor, no president, no Secretary of State talk about stemming illegal fluff firearms that come out of the United States and come into the region. Because as it is said, we don't make them here. And that is one of the biggest problems for the Caribbean countries, the prevalence of firearms that we don't make. And we're not hearing nothing against fighting firearms. We hear about bombing boats with cocaine in the region. So this speech was basically like what I'm saying, like wasn't even really making any sense. No effort wasn't put into that. And then he speaks about helping countries who with certain sources of energy. You know what I mean? It's just like we need it was just really strange that, they decided to come to St. Kitts.
But were you?
You know what I mean?
But were you expecting substance though, Lyf?
Well, I was expecting him to speak about the drugs that their mission costs to be floating around in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other places. Probably apologizing for not informing people that they're gonna be blowing up. They're gonna be dropping bombs on boats in our waters and all of that. You know what I mean? Like
maybe that's what's going to be talked about in closed door meetings.
Well, why is it that has to be spoken about in closed doors meetings? Why is it that we don't have the Dr. Garvin Friday, Prime Minister Dr. Garvin Friday said in his speech that CARICOM needs to do more when it comes to making citizens know what CARICOM is doing. So then we have this thing that have fishermen afraid to go to sea, other seafarers afraid to go to sea, and they're going to talk about that behind closed doors. We had the commander of the Coast Guard last week say that this boat, the St. Lucian vessel, was blown up close to the number 5 FAD, fish aggregating device that attract the fish that the fishermen go around to fish. We had the commander of the Coast Guard, Dean Henry, say that fishermen saw the boat being blown up while they were going towards the number 5 FAD. And I asked, could they have been killed? And it was like, no, they couldn't have been killed because they were a distance away. What do you mean they couldn't have been killed? Because they were a distance away. I didn't buy that. But so what is closed though about that? People still scared. And then he speaks about helping, as I was saying, he spoke about helping the sources of energy that some of these countries want to explore. Man, them thing is thing in America, them thing ain't really have much to do with St. Vincent. What source of energy we have that we want to explore? How that benefiting we? We tried to do the geothermal thing. It didn't work or whatever. What other source of energy we need to explore? We were getting help. St. Vincent and the Grenadines were getting help from Venezuela in relation to our source of energy we want to explore. All that has gone. And then he speaks about Venezuela getting back on its feet. Venezuela is doing fine, well, awesome. Hundreds of thousands of people used to go to Venezuela to shop and bring back goods for sale. Then you all go and put sanctions on them and mash up the economy, and now you talk about, they're getting back on the feet. But the problem came from you, not allowing them to be on the feet in the first place. You know what I mean? The country was doing, you said I'm a dictator, you remove the leader. You kidnapped the leader and took him to America, and somebody else is running their country now. And you say, they will need the legitimacy of fair democratic elections. When your elections was questioned, with interference from Russia kind of thing. So the speech is, I see this speech for what it is, or what it was, a dismissal. They really care about what's going on in this region. They achieved their objective, which was to get Maduro out, seize control of Venezuelan oil, natural gases, and whatever else they want, and they're good. They basically just come and give us a little talk, and you know what I mean? Grace us with the presence or whatever, you know. And yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand what the purpose of coming to that meeting was.
I really am surprised that you were trying to hoping for substance. I was expecting fluff. I didn't even listen to it actually. Right? Yeah, no, I was saying that I was expecting fluff. I didn't listen to it because what were they going to say? I suppose what it is that I'm more interested in is knowing what was said behind closed doors. And did our leaders stand with one voice in terms of the things that our region is being threatened with? Well, not even just threatened with, what is already happening. Did our leaders speak with some sort of force, with some sort of authority, with a collective voice? But I want to ask Nicole something just now with Tanticams, but
Nicole is there.
Yeah, Nicole is there.
Good morning, Lyf.
Yeah, but the thing is, we can know from the individual speeches that no leader went behind closed doors and stand in collaboration or solidarity with one another. We could know that. We could see that. Can basically say, listen, we stand for ourselves, we have crime problem, America helping we. Jamaica basically say, yo, we have our own problems, there's no uniformity in CARICOM and whatever, with nothing to bind us more than we want to be binded. So, and the only person I think will probably get real bad behind closed doors is the Barbados Prime Minister, Mia Motley. We saw an interaction on camera where it seems like there was some serious tension between Motley and Prasad Besessa. At one time, it seems like if me had pulled her hand away from her or whatever, you know, she doesn't want to really have much interaction or thing to say with her. So there's no solidarity, nothing. Everybody basically.
What I saw was smiling for the cameras. I didn't see anything with pulling away hand. I saw smiling for the cameras to put up a facade.
I look at it several times. You know, and Rubio goes on to say, we view our security, our prosperity, our stability to be intricately tied to yours, and we are going to evidence any actions we're prepared to take and any priority that we want to give. This our intent to follow through on it, which is why I'm here today. Well, they basically tell me to keep blowing up boats and all the water, we don't care. You know, and that's why he wanted to come to interact with them collectively, individually, in the time that's permitted to him. You know,
let me.
He hope that is.
Yeah, I wanted to. Go ahead, Lyf.
Go ahead.
Right, no, I wanted to bring Nicole in. Actually, no. After we do the time check, I'll bring Nicole in, so you could finish that, and yeah.
Yeah, so he said he hoped that his presence serves as a real world demonstration of our commitment. I don't even want to call it resetting relations because it's really not about the reset. I mean, we have long-standing ties to each other, bilaterally and all of you collectively. But reinvigorating our relationships because we have a lot in common to work on, both opportunities and challenges, and the United States is committing to do that. Doing what? Even before we had all this bombing, we could go and investigate what is it that the United States gives to the region. Well, let me not say the region because everybody's focused on themselves. We could look at what the United States gives to St. Vincent. Basically, really nothing, you know. We never really got anything from them. They never really did anything for us. A few in between training sessions for Coast Guard or whatever, but it's basically they assisted with some form of security issues because it benefits them for us to intercept some of these vessels there that might be transshipping drugs. But really and truly never really did anything for us. I don't think we could show a bridge that the United States built there or a house. You know what I mean? It's not really nothing. back in the days, I think they gave us some Coast Guard those fast dinghies to run down drug boats or whatever. And what was surprising to me is that in 2001, when the Unity Labour Party came into power, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that he met a bill that the United States Embassy in Barbados had sent to St. Vincent when the soldiers had come here to burn down marijuana. So they were charging us to come to St. Vincent to burn down our marijuana, which was really shocking. I thought they were doing that for free. You know what I mean? There was a bill, and he had said that he would never pay that bill. And he would never invite the United States to come back here to burn down marijuana again. So what is it that they were ever really doing for us? And then on top of that, they just seemingly bomb a boat in our waters and frighten the fishermen. So I don't know what kind of relationship, one-sided relationship. That's an abusive relationship. That's like a relationship where a man beating a woman right through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't.
All right.
It's a very disrespectful kind of interaction to me.
All right, Lyf, let's take a quick time check, and then after we would bring in Nicole into this conversation, this discussion. All right. So the time here in SVG, it is 8:01, and our time check came through the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss of a loved one, you may try to be strong, but it's really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the staff at New Haven Funeral Home can demonstrate their compassion and help to guide your family through the difficult time. So in your time of loss, call the New Haven Funeral Home at 457-1830 or 458-1467 or email newhavenfuneralhome@gmail.com. New Haven Funeral Home, SVG's preferred funeral home.
Sparrows run the rum of your sophistication. Sparrows run age to perfection. Skillfully crafted and forged with time in oak barrels. A rum so divine. Discover authentic Caribbean rum. Sparrows, premium rum. Sparrows, full-bodied rum. Sparrows, pure sophistication. Discover authentic Vincentian rum. Sparrows, premium rum.
Distilled and blended by St. Vincent Distillers Limited. Please drink responsibly.
Agents, Careers, Distributions Limited.
Get ready for an evening of high energy vibes. Join Fire Empress and friends live on stage at FAM, sponsored by WEFM. Happening March 1st from 6 p.m. at Basil's at Villa. Performances by Darren Andrews, Chanel Ned Noel, and Fire Empress. Backed by Kinetic Band plus more. Music by DJ Ligaments, DJ Silk, and DJ Steamer. A night of fashion, freedom, and self-expression. Come ready to show off your style and feel the vibes. Don't forget, Fire's Closet clothing will be on site for sale. Tickets, early bird $50, regular $60. Grab yours now and be part of the ultimate FAM experience.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
What's up? What's that? 457-9997. Activated mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, so WEFM 99.9, and as we continue live with his commentary this morning. Lyf?
All right.
Yeah, so as I was saying,
Right. So I wanted to bring Nicole in on this, right? Nicole, what has been the feedback from Trini's regarding the comments that Tanti Cam's made at the meeting? Noting as well that she's going to meet with Trump next week.
So first and foremost, and this is not a cop-out, I'm going to tell you, I did not listen. And I did that intentionally because my central nervous system needs a rest. And so I took it, I looked to the responsible people in my network to see what their sentiments were. And when I say responsible, I mean people who are not politically moved, but who look at things from a very rational perspective and who truly are about what happens regionally as opposed to what happens on the ground only. So, of course, there was discontent. There is a concern around why the divisive tone and particularly the threatening tone. So again, I did not listen. I still don't want to hear, to be honest with you. I don't want to hear anything on the level of any of the speakers until it is distilled. I like to go back to things like a few days later, you know, when the pillows tail is be better. I want to be able to digest it in a way that I'm able to analyze it without emotion.
Okay.
And so I am listening to the sentiments. People are concerned. I also have heard some people being in favor with some of her comments. And so, again, from the perspective, not only from the help that we're getting, but that sometimes you just need to be that bad person in the room. And I heard somebody say that, you know, that sometimes only the person who really stands up for something gets it done. So I want to make my weekend about sensitizing myself. And I say that really not apologetically, but because I want to be that person who steps back all the time and doesn't do the knee-jerk response. I want to listen to all the presentations. But I'll tell you this, I've been seeing the pictures, and some pictures have been painting 1,000 words. So I don't know if you saw the group picture, and that group picture kind of said, you know, like we're apart, we're together, and one is apart. And it was clear, you know, in terms of just the space. But again, it could be just camera angle.
Or I wonder if it was maybe just the picture that was shown as opposed to maybe the final. Yeah. But it did. Yeah, there are lots of interpretations on that in truth.
Yeah,
so yeah.
But I want to sit back and, you know, even just pay attention and go back to the comments that some of my friends or posts that some of my dear friends have made and really be analytical about it without being in any way tainted by some of the sentiments.
Okay. All right. I see an interesting comment there. The Barbados Prime Minister is possibly the only person who demonstrates leadership skills in the Caribbean at the present. The other leaders are basically secondary school head boys who are waiting to be invited to the headmaster's office.
But you know, I like that statement. And the truth is, Mia displays her leadership regardless. And she does it in a global way. So it isn't about I'm playing small and I'm going to be small. She does it in a way that truly amplifies what leadership should look like and what exemplifies leadership. So like it or not, like her or not, like what she says or does or not, she demonstrates leadership.
Okay. All right. Lyf is still there? Lyf?
Okay, don't tell me I run life with my thoughts, you know.
No, I don't think so. Lyf?
Lyf, come back.
You're not hearing me?
Oh, we hearing you now. All right, we have a call coming through. So let's call Lyf.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. On air?
Yes, you are.
Oh, yeah. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good life.
Lyf Compton.
Lyf on them gypsy boy. Lyf, come to the front of the class. Come take a look.
I wonder. Oh, I think I know what's happening. You know what? Sean, you can't. I think I know what happened. We need to we had to call Lyf on the WhatsApp. Okay. Okay. Sean, call us back a second, please. Call us back in a second.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Okay, Lyf. Hello.
I don't seem so like us there.
Okay, let's.
Maybe we could call him back.
Okay, call him back. Okay, so while it is okay, so persons who are calling the program, call us on WhatsApp as Lyf is on the. We're going to have Lyf on the other line. All right, so call us on the WhatsApp to make your contributions. All right, so we are just standing by to reconnect with Lyf this morning.
Hello?
All right. Life. Okay. Life. So Life is back. So persons who wish to join in on the conversation, call us on the WhatsApp number instead. So Life, you can go ahead.
You hear me?
We're hearing you. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is basically, as I said a few days ago, it's just everybody for themselves. You know what I mean? I guess it makes sense. America's for themselves. And I think that as smaller and developing states, we need to just adapt that too and be for ourselves and try to show up themselves. You know what I mean? Because, like, the NFA coming from nowhere, them bigger countries only. Them bigger countries have such issues they can't solve it. You know what I mean? It's just we are fend for ourselves and do what we can.
All right. So Life, we have a call coming through. So hold that point, please. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. All right. Life, you're hearing, right?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So Sean, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you. So I was calling Lyf to come to the front of the class because I'm not sure why Lyf comes here sometime to be the antagonist. You can't tell me as a right-thinking Vincentian or Caribbean national that you have hope in CARICOM. Wait, there was a calypso. There was a calypso that was sung by a calypsonian a few years ago, Princess Monique, Talking Heads. And of most recent, there was one that was sung by, I think it's Christiana Christopher, Fragmentation, about CARICOM. And we have, if anybody who follow regional politics, we're really in perilous times. We're really in a time where we've lost the good leaders. We can no longer look up to these leaders we have nowadays and expect them collectively or even individually in some aspects to defend the sovereign rights of our region. This you know when that pronouncement is made about a zone of peace, a lot of them scoffed at it. It was a joke. It was so hypocritical. And then I think looking in, the Americans said, you know what, these people are not even serious. They're not together. We can just go there and do what we want. You know, I mean, the statements made by Kamala, Processor, and her hypocrisy with election interference and all of these nonsense, and her response to Venezuela and Cuba, etc. She forgot that there were a unified statement made by CARICOM just before, just recent as last year. So all of that just went out of the window. You understand? And we have America who's claiming rights to our hemisphere and say they're going to be, it's not their right to do anything. You understand? And until we have strong leaders, we only have one or two of them. I think the Prime Minister of Grenada made a very reasonable response, in my opinion, because he was interviewed by several journalists. And I think I like, because sometimes you don't even have to respond. I think I like Mia's response, which is a non-response. But also, we know the type of leader Mia is and who she studies, who's her confidant, which is Ralph Gonzalez. But put all of that aside, we have to look at the historical threats to CARICOM, even where we're trying to have one movement and all of that. We're able to establish the OECS free movement. Now we have this cooperation between Dominica, Barbados, Belize, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? So we need more of that to show strength and to show that we have leaders with backbone actually in our parts. We don't have that. I think what we have now is a bunch of, as Calypso man said, talking heads. And it's very unfortunate that our region, our leaders have become these almost puppets to especially America. Because if the final thing I would say, because if they want to, they can do it. Because now things are being shoved down our throat in terms of accepting these third-party refugee people, right? And nobody understands the impact of that from a tourism standpoint and also from an economic standpoint, because it has grave consequences, right? And I think that even Vincentians, we need to even move our yellow red stance and attack these issues and defending the rights of our country and our sovereignty and our civilization, because we have our own civilization for us, and defend it firmly and start defending puppetry, right? And I think that's the point I wanted to make. But I make it lose aside because we are in serious times. We are in serious times, and sometimes every one of us who wants to be individual activists, who wants to write, who wants to vlog, who wants to stand up for the rights, and you look around, you're pulling one way and everybody is tugging the other way. That is serious. We're not united.
Okay. All right. Thanks, John.
To add to what Sean said, it would have been very interesting to see what Dr. Gonsalves' input would have been at this meeting if he was there. I think the region on a whole misses his voice on issues like this, because it has basically left me alone to fight this battle, right? And even me and Matley has to be kind of diplomatic in her responses or whatever you want to call it, right? Because we are all small countries, and she has to be very careful still. But it's basically left her alone to fight the battle. With as Sean said, probably a little input from Dr. Gonzalez through phone calls or whatever, you know what I mean? She's basically left on alone by herself, because we're not hearing St. Lucia come out strong, Antigua come out strong, Grenada come out strong, Trinidad and Jamaica in their own league. They're in their own league. It's basically left on alone.
Okay. All right, Sean, thanks, okay?
Yeah, yes. Just if you may allow me, because I just wanted to mention something on the hypocrisy of the Prime Minister of Trinidad as well, about the Caribbean interference and people coming in people's backyard. If anybody paid close attention to the 2025 general elections in St. Vincent, if you check out all of the vlogs and most of the commentary that was done, there were pages that belongs to Trinidadians in Trinidad and in the diaspora. There were commentators and vloggers and these profiles out of Trinidad, Nicole. And we should remember that the Anel Robinson, or whatever his name is, came in and he went after the Gonzalez family. So I don't know what she sipped, right? But if it wasn't tea, it was hypocrisy. So when we want to talk about things, I think also from what Lyf mentioned, Lyf, Mia has her own struggles in Barbados to get the Barbados economy to where it was, because leading up to the election, she faced serious criticism in terms of the cost of living in Barbados. So I think she has her own battle. I'll be glad Mia and bite them nonsense, go and deal with your Barbados economy and get Barbados back on track as being one of the leading countries in the world. Have a good morning, guys.
All right. Yeah, the thing is, right, I was kind of surprised that Mia won again, because people looking in from the outside was speaking about serious political interference, and leaders who speak up against what they think the US was doing wrong in the region being attacked undercover, politically undercover. There was some political interference, undercover political interference, like outside entities trying to destabilize parties or leaders who were speaking up against the US. So I was kind of surprised that she won by such an overwhelming.
Yeah, but I think in the case of Barbados, though, if I remember correctly, I think it's only like 30% of the population that went out to vote. So while it is that, yes, she won all the seats, it's not necessarily, she did not necessarily win by okay, quote unquote, an overwhelming majority of the population, because only 30% went out to vote. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even know that stat. I didn't even know that stat. That was that's serious too.
Yes.
It shows that you see, Barbados is what a lot of other small island countries call Little New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
is this in New York or Little England? I think it's Little England, you know. Let me Google.
No, well, from my interactions with them, there is Little New York, right?
Okay.
But they saying that only such a small margin of people went out to vote, it shows a kind of disconnect with the political situation there. It would be interesting to know the amount of youth voters that went out, because Barbados also has a serious problem with crime, and I don't know if it's good or bad. They're reporting. Their newspapers and media outlets in Barbados suppress the crime now. So
but
you will never know that.
In the middle of the page at the back of the newspaper, the middle of the newspaper at the back.
I'm not even mention at all, because they have a tourism part they're trying to protect, and I don't know if suppressing it is good or bad. It's left to be seen, because from looking at the media in Barbados, you want to know that you will be walking in Bridgetown, Swan Street, and get mugged, get your bag pulled away, and somebody pull away your bag and run. Your hotel room could be broken into at any time, and you lose a lot of stuff. You want to know that from listening to the Barbados media.
Lyf, just 1 second, please. We have Joshua already on the line. So let's hear from Joshua, then you will continue after. Joshua, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dr. Lyf. Barbados is known as Little Britain. You know, what I find fascinating.
From what I hear, from my generation, we don't call it that.
Yes, yeah. What I find fascinating about talk radio and politics is that everyone wants to be an armchair prime minister or president or something like that. You know, so I really do enjoy sit back eating popcorn and listening to everybody saying how things should be run. That is why I personally prefer a dictatorship. This is me, my personal preference. Have a great day.
That's interesting. All right, Joshua.
No, but I comment, right? That's something I said.
1 second. Lyf, we're hearing a little bit of like a feedback, a kind of static sound coming through from you. I'm not sure.
Oh. Okay, let me see if I better now.
Much better.
Right. So what I was saying with that comment, right? It's kind of it's a kind of inflammatory comment from Joshua, with him basically like poking fun at the opinions of people who think that things should be run, right? But the last comment is something I actually said a few days ago.
On Sunday.
I can see why is it some people prefer a dictatorship, and why sometimes a dictatorship makes more sense, because of some of the comments and some of the things people say. You understand? But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we all have to fight up with what the hand we're being dealt. You know what I mean? And people are entitled to their opinion. As the saying goes, heavy head that weighs the crown. And maybe we don't know from being on the outside the inner workings of being a leader or whatever, but we can still observe and make our points felt. You understand? And I don't think most of us who calling for the leaders to be more affirmative and stand up for themselves are wrong, because we see me and Maki doing it. We see Dr. Gonsalves used to do it at some point. We see Gaston Brown had said that there's no way he's going to allow the USA to put radars on his island. So, you know, we can't all be just as some people like to say, talking stupidness or singing dumb when we say certain things, because we see so many leaders actually doing some of the things that we want to be done. You know what I mean? So
all right.
yeah.
So we have.
I always have opinions, and we always have people who go against what you say or whatever. It doesn't really offend me in no way whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So we have a caller. Yeah. We will take this as the final call, and then we'll wrap up for the morning. Okay.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I am the dictator. I'm the dictator. I'm going to dictate everything today. Nobody have no freedom to say nothing.
You never meet up on me yet, but go ahead. Let me see what you're coming with.
No, people like dictatorship. I never live under one, but the philosophy of dictatorship, I don't think I could live under that.
Yeah.
You know, I could understand that there are some things that, you know, they might have more knowledge than me, and they might have to make a stronger stand than I probably would take. But in terms of full dictatorship, nah, I can't think I can live under that kind of life.
And I don't even know for us as people of African descent living in the Caribbean, if that would even work at this point in time, because, you know, we fought so hard to become independent in a sense, in terms of being able to have democracy, being able to have certain freedoms. Of course, we are confined by what happens internationally or things that are imposed on us. But I don't know if for us as people of African descent, if that would work. I really don't know.
Relisha, a lot of people think that, you know, they say if a country going to dictatorship, then they don't have to go like, you know, like also in this now, procurement and all that stuff. They don't have to go through that. The man say they live in a house and nobody can ask you a question, the house is built. So I think a lot of people like that notion where they don't have to go through. But then in the long run, who building the house? Who's getting money? Who's getting paid? Because as a dictator, I could give the all job and who will stop me from doing that? You know? So there might be some pros into some dictatorship, you know. But in the long run, I don't think total dictatorship is the way to go. You know?
Yeah, I want to think. Well, then again, Joshua might be actually serious with what he's saying. So let me leave that.
No, I think he actually is.
Yes,
yes. He's a supporter of Trump and the policies, right? So I think he's actually like. I don't think he doesn't. In a situation where he doesn't like criticize the criticism of Trump because he agrees with what Trump is doing. So I can understand that you support something like that. So that's why I always say it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to follow with your friends over politics.
Right, and over positions that you already know that they stand on. So yes.
They stand. Yeah. So it don't really mean anything. It don't really mean anything. Like I wouldn't follow with somebody over their opinion and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's not my style. But I don't think that is his style either. But that's not what I would do, to be honest.
A lot of things Trump trying to do, he's trying to be a dictator, but because of the House and the Senate, they kind of holding him back a little bit, and the judges are holding him back a little bit. They're making him following. This country got straight with dictatorship. If they give him that way, he goes straight with dictatorship. He's not holding back. I'm telling you.
And we would all become colonies of the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really hear what the caller is saying too well, right? But what people have to realize too is that a lot of people in the Senate in the United States do not agree with what Trump is doing. The same way we do not agree with what he's doing, a lot of people in the United States also does not agree with what he's doing either. So it's not a situation where like we have been dumb or we have been
see that like this now here with me. You can tell him what I said and I'm going to listen on the radio.
Okay, all right, no problem. Have a good one, Kojo. All right. Thanks. All right, Lyf, you wrap up. Yeah,
I couldn't really hear too well what Kojo was saying.
Okay.
But as I'm saying, that we're not dumb for some of the stance or some of the opinions that we make, because we see people right there in the United States who oppose Trump, oppose a lot of the things that he's doing. His leadership has been a kind of tumultuous kind of relationship with the American public, where he started off very popular because, according to what one American told me, when Trump came into power, my 401k skyrocketed and whatever. But now, they're changing the stance. I have a friend who said that, who supported Trump fully and would argue with us about what the good things Trump are doing. But now we think happened. He can't leave the United States, and not because he's there illegally, but because he's scared to leave because he has a green card and not full citizenship. You know what I mean? So we see things change from day to day. People's opinion change from day to day. And you just have to just respect it and just leave it alone. You can't make enemies out of people for the opinion on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when you're wrong, it might take a while for you to realize that you're wrong. And then you being wrong just hit you hard in your face one day. You know what I mean? But we're in some really special times. These are some crazy times. And who would ever thought that we would see a missile drop on a boat in Vincent waters? That was never on nobody's mind. Like, you could be fishing and you could be fishing and see a missile like a boat right in front of your eye.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Because when we were thinking of even back with the tensions between Venezuela and Guyana, we were like, no, this cannot possibly happen because this is not what we're used to in the region. So imagine, there's still a little bit of a distance away from us, and we were saying, no, it's not going to happen. We definitely don't want for it to get to that. But then to hear of this with the U.S. in all waters it's, I don't know. I think that sometimes we have to put up mental blocks and just deal with things when we can, Yeah,
but the thing is, right, and we see the fallout of that bombing hasn't have any positive fallout for us. It's affecting us negatively because the cocaine that washed the show and the cocaine that the fishermen found, they brought it to shows and it's circulating in the country right now, and it hasn't benefited us in any way. This whole entire audience that started in October with US and Venezuela has not benefited the region in any way. Probably Trinidad got some Prasad business said, murder rate went down by 200 and something people. Let's see if it stays that way. But it hasn't benefited us in the small islands in any way. It actually made things worse for us. You know what I mean? It's damaging our reputation in the tourism sector, because the US is pushing this agenda that these islands are the leaders of these islands was supporting Maduro in drug trafficking and whatever, arms trafficking or whatever else. Then these boats are being blown up, the cocaine is in the water, washing ashore, people finding it and bringing it to St. Vincent, bringing it to Channel 1 and Union Island and Beckwith and all these places, and probably other Caribbean islands also. So it hasn't really benefited us in any way. And on top of that, the United States Secretary they gone to the CARICOM meeting and said basically, some new dynamic in the Western Hemisphere that sounds like some takeover again at the Caribbean, So what is it benefiting us? What is it? On top of that, they don't give us anything really. What remember Trump stopped the US aid? US aid was funding a lot of things in poorer countries in relation to healthcare issues and whatever, and they take that away.
And
really?
As you bring this up, I know so we need to wrap up, but as you bring this up, I remember making the point about us standing our ground and holding our positions, or even standing behind our leaders. But yesterday in our news broadcast, I found there was an interesting story that came across in Zimbabwe. So they rejected the U.S. health deal that would have provided them with U.S. $367 million in funding over the next 5 years because Washington wanted sensitive data. So they gave that up, but they said, no, we are not going to be accepting we're not going to be doing this trade-off with you. So they have declined US $367 million. And when I read this yesterday, I was at $367 million in funding. When I read this yesterday, I wondered if this was put to, let's say, us in the region, or if our leaders had said, we are not going to accept this funding because we are not going to be trading this or that. Would our people have stood behind their leaders and said, okay, well, good. We are happy that we are not going to give in and we're not going to succumb to pressure like that? Would our people have stood by the leaders or call them foolish if they had done what Zimbabwe did?
Yeah, but countries like Zimbabwe and these countries in Africa, they don't really need the US for nothing, you know. To be honest, like, they don't really need the US for anything. They have all these resources that they could be fully self-sustainable. So they have to know that 360-something million, that is money for them people. That's not money for them people. Those people in those countries have so much resources that they probably generate that in a week.
Yes, Zimbabwe. Okay, I got to Google. Okay, that's my weekend homework. Google the economy of Zimbabwe. All right.
Is there any country is there any country on that continent that cannot be so self-sustainable with proper management?
Yeah, well, with proper management, but
the word is proper management. Proper management is where it stands.
Right.
And particularly Zimbabwe's economy, when last I checked, it was really in that decline, and I literally was physically there. So I mean, the thing is, the potential of African states is highly, I mean, you think it potential, but when in, not just potential, but the vast amount of resources that they have really comes down to management and, of course, not selling out, because that's what has been happening. So it's truly about the management of it.
As far as I see, they should do like Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. They should do what he's doing. But it's very hard because it's greed. Greed is the major problem.
Yeah, a quick Google search was saying Zimbabwe is continues to grapple with chronic poverty, hyperinflation, unemployment, and food insecurity. So, yeah.
Because of greed. What's the main resource?
The main resource is, all right, I ain't seen that come up right away. I'm not seeing that right away. So they have minerals. They have a lot of minerals. They have a strong mineral base.
Countries have that. It's just greed and mismanagement. So
it is poor management. It is poor management.
Yeah. I think they should stick with their greed and not embrace another country greed. If they're going to be greedy, let benefit somebody to come from there. Because
that's interesting, Lyf. All right, that's a whole different topic. That's interesting how you phrase that.
But if they can change nothing, if greed from outside, greed from inside, if they can change nothing for the people.
All right.
Adapt this time, adapt and manage any country is supposed to be managed. And people still say Terror is doing things wrong. Well, basically, the Americans, so they try to a lot of attempts on his life or whatever, they trying to kill him.
Okay. All right. So we all right. We definitely have to wrap up now, Lyf. So you could say goodbye to the listeners.
Well, let's hope things get better first. On Monday I wanna talk about something, an article I saw with some words from police officer, superintendent Daly. I don't know if I got his title right. Trevor Rubio, he was a police officer. He was speaking about some of the things with 6 and 7 gangs in school or whatever. And anyway, that's a topic for Monday. I won't go any further with that.
Okay.
I want to talk about that.
All righty. All right, Lyf. So we thank you for joining us with your commentary this morning, and we look forward to hearing from you again on Monday. And have a good and a safe one, okay?
Yeah, everybody enjoy the weekend.
All right. Take care, Lyf.
It will be interesting to know the discussion that's going to be happening between Kalman
and Trump?
President Trump.
You want to be a fly on the wall? You want to be a fly on the wall? I don't know that it's going to be any different from what has already been happening, and that's the thing is, I'll tell you what happens after a while. Nothing should surprise us anymore about what has been, the trend. The trend, once a trend is established, nothing should surprise you. What you should do, though, is pay attention. That's it. Just pay attention. And in doing so, a lot of times, sit back and listen, but watch. More than you listen, watch.
Okay.
Because sometimes a lot of things are omitted or not said or not established, but watch.
All righty. So we are heading on out of this segment. And in our next segment, we'll be bringing an interview with Court, but it will be live streamed regarding their yard sale that is happening today. All right. So stay tuned to WEFM 99.9.
99.9 WEFM.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there, reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's